Hello, everybody. I hope you're keeping really well and you're enjoying this beautiful weather. It's amazing. So good, not just for the physical body and the mitochondria, but so good for the soul, don't you think? I hope you take something really valuable away from this video. This is a mistake I made underestimating the power of stress. So, obviously, I'm really educated, or at least I like to think I'm educated on how stress impacts the body and the hormonal system and the thyroid and everything from progesterone to causing severe anxiety to stopping fat burning, everything. But I made this one mistake and I forgot how deeply stress impacts the gastrointestinal tract. So let me elaborate. 2 weeks ago, we went to Idaho for a break. We went for a week to the beautiful Coeur d'Alene. I love that place, makes my heart so happy. So I was looking forward to this, and I had been really, really grinding in my business since like January, like go, go, go. And I knew I was stressed. I knew I was very stressed, having the odd heart palpitation, and almost excusing it to be, well, this is the nature of the beast for what I do. Not only helping so many people, like I'm literally always on call, but also pumping out the videos, the podcasts, my own content, doing my own studies and research, and helping my master's group. And I have 2 kids, I have a husband, a house, recently started a second business. Again, you'd think I'd learn from the first time I did that. But anyway, and I knew I was under a lot of stress, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna need this little break and all will be well in the world and I'll have this rest. But that's not how it turned out. I was very wound up, and it was like wound up is an Irish term. It means like you feel like you're wound really tight, like a spring inside your body. You're so tense because you're so stressed and like just holding on to all the stress and tension. So I was very wound up. My libido was gone. My irritability was through the roof. I was snapping at all of my family, and I was feeling bad about that, but I couldn't stop it. It was out of control. And I really was trying to keep myself in a zen place and taking all the supplements, and my sleep is always great. Like everything. I was doing everything, but it wasn't enough. And I hope this helps to put context on the relationship between stress and especially gastrointestinal health now as we go on. Um, so it didn't feel like it was affecting my hormones too much. I use progesterone, my cycle is very regular, normal, menses, the whole lot. But it was affecting something else. And I was like, what is going on here? So I was having chronic diarrhea, like chronic diarrhea from, let's say, my stress peaked in April and we went to Idaho at the end of May, and just chronic diarrhea nonstop. And I will add in this caveat, I do have IBD, I have diverticulosis, and it can get exceptionally bad, especially in my left descending colon. Generally, it's okay, I do all the things. But from April onwards, it was terrible. I was having chronic diarrhea and not just looser stools. This was full on diarrhea, not to get into detail too much. And sorry if you're grossed out, but there's a valuable lesson to be learned here. Chronic diarrhea after my coffee, after my breakfast, after dinner, after nothing, after a cup of tea in college, and after supplement. It was just all day, every day. I couldn't have anything, and everything was just coming out, and it was terrible. And it got to the stage, it was everything. It got to this stage that as we started to get closer to going to Idaho, we left, I believe, May 25th. I was starting to get super emotional, and not just the anxiety that comes with stress and irritability. I was actually getting emotional. I was getting weepy. I was feeling really sad. I was like, how can I not fix this? I am a practitioner. This is what I do. And believe me, I had done a full elimination of my supplements. I thought it was my protein powder. I eliminated my protein powder. I thought it was my calcium supplement. I eliminated everything and slowly implement. No, still kept happening. Then, as we moved closer to going to Idaho, like I was getting really emotional and I was saying to my husband, like, I can't get a hold on this. Nothing's working. My colostrum's not working. Zinc's not, like, nothing's working. And I was getting like, I can't live like this. This is terrible. Like, what is happening to my body? And I was like really upset. I felt really sad, felt really down. He, of course, was trying to comfort me, but of course, he's not a health practitioner, so he had no idea. His advice was probably better than my own advice. He kept saying, "You need to slow down and rest." And I was like, I know, but that's what the vacation is for. And like, I'm trying. I've pulled back on some of my work. Like, I'm trying. Um, so then as we got closer to Idaho, it was nonstop. The days before we left, it was nonstop. I was almost not eating. I actually did because it started to inflame my intestines. That I did two 36-hour fasts and then one day of just liquids just to give my gastrointestinal tract a break. But almost because I was at that point where, like, I don't want to eat. I can't keep running to the bathroom. Like, this is ridiculous. So then we drive to Idaho from Calgary, which is like 8 hours if you include stopping for lunch. We must have stopped 4 or 5 times for me to use the bathroom, and I was like trying to not eat because I was like, I can't be stopping in the middle of nowhere. Because the drive from Calgary to Idaho, it's a good like 4 or 5 hours where there's nothing around you but fields. So I was being conscious of what I was consuming, and then I had to really go when we hit Fernie, and I was holding it in, and it was hurting my intestines. And I'm like, I'm going into detail because I think it's important. Because upon speaking to several of my clients recently, they're going through the exact same thing. So then we get to Idaho. Same thing happened. We arrive in Idaho on Friday. Still had the diarrhea. Saturday still had the diarrhea. Sunday still had the diarrhea, and I was like trying to enjoy my vacation. I was like, this is ridiculous. And my family were almost making a joke out of it at that stage because I was literally running in and out of the bathroom. And we only had one bathroom to share in the hotel. So I was like, if someone was in there, I was like, you need to get out now. I need to use the bathroom. So they started using the bathroom down at reception. And like, I just needed to have the bathroom at my disposal whenever I needed. And that included when we went out. I had to constantly be looking for bathrooms. Such an inconvenience, but I was trying to enjoy myself. So then on the Monday, we went to, and I was having fun. Let me say, I was having fun. I was sleeping a lot. I wasn't on social media much. I didn't bring any of my work stuff. Like, I was trying my best to relax and enjoy my break. Monday, we went to Silverwood Theme Park. We love theme parks, love roller coasters, and I'm not an adrenaline junkie, but they do something to me that I enjoy. And myself and my teenager, we got on. They have this new big roller coaster, and it literally like goes straight up, and it doesn't come down a slant. It has a tiny little lip, and it goes straight back down again. And I screamed so loud. My husband and my little boy said they heard me down at the bottom, but when I got off, I was like, I actually think my soul just left my body. The last bit of my stress just went. It went, and like, I just felt it just lifted. That scream, that like elation, the adrenaline, that's a good adrenaline, obviously not compared to the adrenaline we get when we're living in survival mode every day. Um, just felt such a weight off my chest. Enjoyed the rest of the day. Went to the bathroom later that evening and had my first solid bowel movement. And I went out and I told everyone, I was like, oh my God, I had my first solid bowel movement. And then that happened on Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday. And then we got back. that Thursday night, Calgary, and I was like, all my mind was almost blown, like, of everything I know. It was stress that was destroying my gut. My gut was in, like, not survival mode, like extreme survival mode. And then I continued to have solid bowel movements for the next few days. And then I get back into work, and like, I love my job, but I do a lot. Like, I take on a lot. I help a lot of people, and thank you God for giving me the ability. But then a few days back home into the rhythm of things, the diarrhea started again. And then it reinforced the idea, like, this is the adrenaline and cortisol response that's doing this. And I kind of nipped it in the bud really quick, and it's somewhat better now. Not as bad as it was. Oh, thank God. But so, as I know how the body works, when we're exposed to extreme stress all the time, not only does that cause the systemic inflammation, when we constantly have the adrenaline going, it plummets our progesterone, it destroys thyroid function. So, thyroid function lowers, that lowers metabolism, that lowers detoxification, cognitive performance. Estrogen then gets to come up. Then we start seeing more systemic inflammation, infections start to arise from endotoxins, and yeast feeds off estrogen, so people might experience yeast infections. I've heard this happening to a lot of people. They're having yeast turn up in their bowel movements with chronic diarrhea. It didn't happen to me, thankfully, but yeast is not just a vaginal issue as people think it is. Um, so then we see the gastrointestinal system, because thyroid function slows down, and it slows everything down. You think of that downstream effect. Most people who have thyroid issues have gallbladder issues. Most people who have thyroid issues have gastrointestinal tract issues, and vice versa. They go hand in hand. So, thyroid slows down everything. And I've had hypothyroidism since as long as I can remember. And I think it stems back from when I was a baby. I got scalded with like third degree burns, and I was in the children's hospital in Dublin for like 6 months. I would think I was one and a half. And they thought I was not going to make it. They thought I was going to die. So if you ever see me in person, I have a lot of scars down my neck and across my chest. That's from that. Luckily, I made it. But I think that was the beginning of my trauma. Obviously very traumatic for a toddler, and it stays in the central nervous system, and then all the other stuff that happens over life that we deal with. Um, but when I think that was the trigger for my hypothyroidism. But back to the point, that then slows down gastric juices. So you reduce the amount of hydrochloric acid you make, and digestive enzymes and pancreatic enzymes. That also then affects bile acid production and movement. So you start making sluggy, gluggy bile, and then it keeps up. You get gallstones. But because of the huge stress response my body was in, I wasn't able to digest anything. It was just like my body sees something come in the mouth, down the esophagus, into the stomach. Uh-oh. Like, we don't have the tools or the capabilities to process this. Let's get it out. So I was just chronically flushing and flushing and flushing and flushing. I've been doing a lot to work on it since we came back. But it's very, very clear to me that it was the chronic stress. I had done all the elimination of everything, and it was the chronic stress that did it. And lo and behold, I go on a roller coaster, I just release all that stress, and diarrhea stops. Come back to the stress, it starts again. But this is something that's really overlooked by people. Now, since I've been back, I've spoken to three of my clients who have been experiencing this for months now. And I'm like, why didn't you tell me? Because I was experiencing this too. Some people put it down to, oh, it's something I'm eating. Or I must have put a dirty hand in my mouth, or maybe it's a supplement. And let me tell you, sometimes it could be one of those, but a lot of the time now, from my experience, it is stress. It's stress. And that stress, of course, exacerbates inflammation in the gastrointestinal tract. We know that stress is one of the main causes of said leaky gut, where we get those tight gut junctions in our gastrointestinal lining open. And that's how the endotoxins get into the bloodstream. And that's a whole nother rabbit hole to go down. But this systemic effect, this biochemical effect that stress has, which literally can ruin your life. You can, if you're looking for a bathroom all day every day, if you're worried to eat because you're going to need to run to the bathroom, like, it's ruining your life. It's soul crushing. It's very hard to find enjoyment and even think straight. And then had it gone on for too much longer, and I suppose had I not been doing the other supplements and whatnot, there could be a severe case of malnutrition that starts to happen as well, which further exacerbates the problem. Um, so, this was a mistake, but our mess becomes our message. I believe God gives us these messes for us to learn and then share the word and teach others. Um, this was a mistake of mine. It's not even a simple mistake. This was a major mistake I made. I underestimated the power of chronic stress. And lo and behold, it took this valuable lesson to open my eyes and wake me up. I'm going to leave it nice and short like that. I hope you found that helpful, or maybe you know someone else that's dealing with something like this. Let me tell you, just like the wonderful Hans Sollier says, stress can never be avoided. There's always going to be stress. The only time we will avoid stress is upon our deathbed. Um, but so nobody's saying eliminate all stress. It's not possible. But we are saying we need to pay more attention to what's stressing us, reduce it where possible, practice better stress management, create awareness. What is stressing me and how is it affecting my body? We're all going to have stress. We all have stress. Nobody's exempt. And again, it won't be gone till we're on our deathbed. But um, where possible, pay attention to it and reduce it as much as possible. I hope you guys found that helpful. I hope you have a great day. Bye bye.